The birth of SNK's handheld dream, SNK, or Shin Nihon Kikaku, had built a reputation through the 90s for delivering premium arcade experiences. Their Neo Geo AES home console was legendary, but it was also expensive, over $600 for the system and $200 per game. That made it a luxury product for hardcore fans. By the late 1990s, SNK wanted to reach a wider audience. The idea was simple: bring the same arcade quality they were known for, but make it portable and affordable. So in 1998, they released the Neo Geo Pocket, a monochrome handheld aimed at the Game Boy market. Unfortunately, it arrived just as the Game Boy Color was launching, and sales were disappointing. SNK didn't give up though. They quickly went back to the drawing board and released a full-color upgrade in 1999, the Neo Geo Pocket Color, NGPC. This was SNK's second chance, and for a moment, it seemed like they might actually pull it off. Design and hardware, simple but smart. The Neo Geo Pocket Color was beautifully designed. Unlike many handhelds of its time, it felt comfortable and solid in the hands. It had a 2.7-inch reflective LCD screen, capable of displaying up to 146 colors on screen from a palette of 4,096. But the real magic was in its controls. The NGPC featured a clicky analog thumbstick, known as the click stick. It combined the precision of an arcade joystick with the portability of a D-pad. Every tiny click felt satisfying, perfect for fighting games and action titles. Battery life was also impressive. 2 AA batteries could power it for over 40 hours, outperforming the Game Boy Color in that regard. It also included a calendar, clock, horoscope, and alarm, giving it a unique digital companion feel. SNK even allowed players to link two systems for multiplayer gaming using a cable, and it could connect to Sega's Dreamcast console for cross-platform features, something truly ahead of its time. The games. Small screen. Big hits. SNK's biggest strength has always been its games, and the Neo Geo Pocket Color had some of the best handheld titles ever made. It launched with iconic franchises like The King of Fighters R2, Samurai Showdown 2, Fatal Fury, First Contact, and Metal Slug, First Mission. These weren't cheap knockoffs, they were fully playable, tightly designed handheld versions of SNK's biggest arcade hits. The system also had original titles like SNK vs. Capcom, Match of the Millennium, a crossover fighting game that fans still consider one of the best in the series. It featured smooth animation, responsive controls, and dozens of characters from both universes, all on a tiny handheld screen. Beyond fighters, there were fun puzzle and strategy games like Puzzle Bobble Mini, Neo Turf Masters, and Dark Arms. Beastbuster 1999. The game library may have been small, with around 80 titles, but nearly all of them were high quality. Critics praised the system for offering true arcade gameplay on the go, something Nintendo's Game Boy simply couldn't match in performance or style. The Sega Connection, a smart partnership. One of the coolest and most overlooked aspects of the Neo Geo Pocket Color was its collaboration with Sega. In 1999, SNK and Sega formed a partnership that allowed cross-compatibility between the NGPC and the Dreamcast. Certain Dreamcast games, like King of Fighters 99 Evolution and The Last Blade 2, could connect to the handheld via a link cable. This allowed players to unlock bonus features, exchange data, and even use the NGPC as a secondary screen, years before Nintendo would do it with the Wii U or Switch. The partnership also led to SNK publishing Sonic the Hedgehog Pocket Adventure, a fantastic 2D Sonic game that felt like a blend of Sonic 2 and Sonic 3. Many consider it one of the best Sonic games ever released outside of a Sega system. This collaboration showed that SNK had bold ideas and strong allies. Unfortunately, even that couldn't save them from what came next. The market challenge, Nintendo's iron grip. Despite its quality and innovation, the Neo Geo Pocket Color was fighting an uphill battle. Nintendo's Game Boy Color dominated the market with an enormous player base and third-party support. SNK was a much smaller company, and they couldn't compete with Nintendo's marketing or distribution power. Stores often didn't carry many NGPC titles, and outside Japan, the system struggled to find visibility. Adding to the challenge, Pokémon Fever was sweeping the world. Nintendo's handheld wasn't just a gaming device anymore. It was a cultural phenomenon. The NGPC had solid arcade titles, but it lacked a system seller like Pokémon that could drive hardware sales. Even with excellent word of mouth among hardcore gamers, the casual market barely noticed the device existed. SNK's financial collapse. The final blow didn't come from Nintendo directly, it came from SNK's own financial troubles. By 2000, SNK was struggling due to declining arcade revenues and competition in the console market. The company was eventually acquired by a Japanese pachinko manufacturer called Aruze, which shifted focus away from traditional gaming. Soon after, SNK filed for bankruptcy, and production of the Neo Geo Pocket Color came to an abrupt halt. In North America and Europe, the console's lifespan was barely 1 year. By 2001, it was discontinued entirely. Developers stopped producing new titles, and unsold units were cleared from store shelves at heavy discounts. Players who owned one suddenly found themselves with a high-quality handheld that was already obsolete. The cult following and legacy. Even though it failed commercially, the Neo Geo Pocket Color gained a cult following among collectors and retro gaming fans. Its small but polished game library, excellent controls, and strong SNK branding made it a hidden gem of handheld history. Emulators and fan communities kept the system alive long after its demise. Today, it's celebrated as one of the most underrated consoles ever released. Games like SNK vs. Capcom, Match of the Millennium, and Metal Slug Second Mission remain highly sought after by collectors. In recent years, SNK has also revisited its handheld legacy. The Neo Geo Pocket Color selection on Nintendo Switch and PC brings back many of these classics, introducing them to a new generation of players. Why the Neo Geo Pocket Color failed? So why did such a great console fail so quickly? The reasons were a mix of timing, marketing, and circumstance. Poor timing. It launched just before the Game Boy Advance and couldn't compete with Nintendo's future-proof hardware. Limited third-party support. Most major developers didn't want to risk making games for a smaller platform. Lack of global marketing. Outside Japan, few people even knew it existed. SNK's financial instability. The company simply didn't have time to let the console grow. It's one of those tragic cases where quality alone wasn't enough. The hardware, games, and vision were there, but the market wasn't. The Neo Geo Pocket's place in gaming history. In hindsight, the Neo Geo Pocket Color was far ahead of its time. It offered a high-quality screen, long battery life, cross-platform features, and a control stick that handhelds today still struggled to match. Its failure wasn't because it was bad, it was because the industry was too crowded and SNK's timing was unlucky. Yet it stands as proof that smaller companies can innovate in ways the giants won't risk. For fans of 2D fighters and retro gaming, the NGPC remains one of the purest handheld experiences ever made. It captured SNK's arcade spirit in a pocket-sized form that no other system has truly replicated.